Hi everybody and welcome back to Nellie and Ruth Designs. Today's well, it's after the 4th. It was a very long weekend, very restful weekend, somewhat busy but not too busy, and I feel like I'm so far behind. It's funny, I don't know if you have the same feeling if you're not a YouTuber and you don't create videos and you watch. I watch a lot of videos as well. I feel like I'm behind in my watching. I've tried to, just adjusting my camera a little bit here. I've tried to keep up with some of the gals that I do watch. I guess I feel behind because over at Buttons for Brains, Liz and I are doing a collaboration, and I'm not watching her videos because I don't want to see what she's creating in her book. I want it to be a surprise when I get it. So I kind of feel behind there. I had a special order, which I've had to think about how I wanted to make it. I completed that this morning, and that's getting sent out. But as you can see, oh, I also started fodder school. Um, and that is a daily tutorial for the next couple weeks in July, starting today. So I have that on my plate. So yeah, there's a lot going on. And as you can see, a lot has been going on with the slow stitch pincushion. I finished it. Obviously, I didn't finish. It's not a pincushion. I should say I finished all the slow stitching, and I wanted to share it with you. There was some things that I took apart, some different changes. I know I talked about doing some embroidery down here, but I decided to take another route there. So I'm really pleased with the way this came out. And I think as I do this, I'm going to stand because I want to bring the camera down to show you some different stitches that I did. So let's see if I can do this without burning and crashing. So right here, I think this is good. Right here you can see where I did all little tiny French knots. So I made it look almost like a little meadow here. And these are just straight stitches here. These are, I don't want to say a woven straight stitch, but it's kind of where you loop your thread back around to give it more of a solid, complete look. And if anybody's interested in learning any of these stitches, they're all very simple. Just let me know in the comments, and I can do a tutorial on them. If you are new to any type of embroidery, cross stitch, the slow stitching, these are really nice, just very simple stitches that anybody can do. They are not hard to learn. If you remember the crinkly ribbon, it comes like this, and I do have a video on this, how I attached this here. Then I just added a few seed beads. You can see here I added some gold, and then I added almost some transparent green beads to this. And then working over to the right, this is the back side of this will be the back side of the pincushion. This I added, I believe this is called a rosette stitch, and this is very, very easy to do. And they're a lot of fun to create. Very simple. And then I just add the little faux pearl, the little seed bead faux pearl inside each one. And I just think that gives a very sweet look. This here is a little, I call these little puff balls. I just kind of made this on my own. Again, these are very easy to make, but it just adds a bit of more texture and a different little layer. And here I just added some faux pearls. These here are French knots. This is the only set that I didn't take apart. If you remember, I had, in my past video, I had some more French knots here, and I had seed beads as the stems. I didn't like it. It was just way too bulky. So I just went and took it all apart, which you can do. It's not hard at all. This stitch here is the laced herringbone stitch, and I do have a tutorial on this here, which shows when you make your herringbone. The herringbone is in the pink right here. This is the pink. And I took the orange and I laced it, which I like both. I like the herringbone. This really softens it quite a bit. This is your fly or your Y stitch. And again, I just added little tiny translucent or transparent little purple beads, and then I added the gold. I wanted to give it a little flicker there. And again, this is a rosette, and then these are the French knots. So as I moved down, this, if you remember, this was just a plain square, and this was a plain square. I wanted to add a little bit something more to it. So I went through I have a lot of quilting squares, scraps that I purchased, and a lot of them look like this here, which has little flowers on it. So I found a couple really pretty squares, and what I did was you can see I cut the pattern out, these little patterned flowers. Here you can see the where they were on the material right here, and then I cut this out, and these two here. So what I did was I tacked them down with just little tiny stitches. You can see here I put a little tiny bit of glue on them, and then I stitched them down, and I did use fray check around the outside here where I cut it. So this is the fray check here, and it just stops fraying on your fabrics, because some of these stitches I got kind of close, and I was afraid that if I got too close it would fray and the stitch wouldn't hold. So all I did here was I took my DMC embroidery threads and I chose colors that would match and some to contrast, and then I just did my stem stitching all around the leaves and the flowers, and I just added a little bit of an accent. And then again, you can see here where I cut them out, and I just think that adds a nice design. It comes up around here, and this square was a bit plain, and I just positioned it where these two leaves, so it kind of looks like this is just growing out of that there. And then I added the pearls here, and then down on the bottom, I believe I had already completed this. And again, I did the rosettes because I really enjoy this stitch. And here you'll see I didn't put anything in between. Here I used the little pearls, kind of like I wanted these to be kind of like cattails. And then I used, I think it is 4mm ribbon, embroidery ribbon, to make the little leaves that come up and hug around the cattail. And again, the green is just a stem stitch. I'm leaving the doily, the vintage doily, alone. I left a little bit of room here because that's where we're going to fold the material to make the pillow part for the pincushion. And then this square here, again, I didn't want to leave plain, so I found some vintage buttons out of my mom's button box, and I thought that they went really well with this. And then here I was going to do another style like up here with the French knots. But after I got looking at it, it was pretty stark and they are tall. So all I did was I went back and I just did little straight stitches to make them more look like wildflowers. So that is, let me get this up here. That is the overall composition of this. And I loved working on this. I worked, on it out by the pool, under a nice shade umbrella, on my back porch. It's just something that it's just a wonderful thing to do in the summer. Any type of handwork or whatever on these hot summer days or cool, damp days. So now what I'm going to do, because this is going to be made into a pillow style, and I was looking at this and thinking about it last night. What I'm going to be stuffing it with is these ground nutshells. These are walnut, and I have a lavender scent and I have an unscented. It's just how I bought them. I'm hoping I have enough. I believe I will. Now, this is going to be folded over like this. And remember, this will be kind of like the finish. I'm just doing this here so you can see what size. I did want this to be a little bit bigger. I actually want it to be long and round, but it didn't work out that way, how I put my crinkly. So it's going to be a nice little pillow style. So I have to take my time and think about this because it's all about the positioning. So I have this here. I'm just going to pin this down, and I may have to mark it up a little bit before I take it over to the sewing machine. But I just want to see what I'm dealing with here. And this is the part that makes me nervous because I've done all this work and then if it doesn't, I just want to see where I'm at. So I think this will be the best way to figure this out. And this part will all be stitched on the machine. So then we fold it. So by doing it this way, we'll have a little bit of doily on the front there. And then this will be the back side, which will be nice to have this much doily on the back. I have nothing there. Nothing here. So I think that'll be okay. This leaf will be coming around the back side. So I think that will be okay. Now I just have to decide how do I want to, I'm going to have to do an invisible stitch after I add the shells. So I think I'm going to want to do it, I think I'll want to do it on the top. So my next question is, I guess I will do it, I will just fold it over after I get it sewn. Will that be the best way to do it? And then just stitch it all up like that. Maybe I'll end up doing a blanket stitch on the top. And I will just stitch right down here on the bottom. I'm just wondering where I would have the most room to work with when I roll it over. Maybe the bottom, because I might be able to take a little bit more, because I don't mind if this is right on the bottom there. And maybe I will stitch on the machine because of this across the top. That might be my better choice. I just have to be careful because I do have a little bead there that I wouldn't want to catch in my machine. So maybe, because I have that bead up there, maybe it would be better to stitch this down here because there's no beads or anything. So, all right, well, I'm going to get this stitched on the machine, and then hopefully this will all work out. I'll have enough of the ground nut shells, and if not, I'll just have to place another order, and then we will finish it when the order comes in. All right, I'll be right back. I have it all stitched, and it actually went really well. Here's the inside, and I did 3 stitches on the side, and then up here at the top, I decided to stitch on the top here. I wasn't confident with making sure that this bit of lace was tucked inside, and it did work out really well. I just want to try to get this corner a little bit more, here we go. I did want, I wanted this really to be in here good, instead of doing the hand stitching, and I'll do the hand stitching down here on the bottom. I'll be able to tuck this in once I get it filled, and I'll be able to get that stitched pretty easy. So, all right, so I brought a little basket over, but I thought, again, I don't know if I'm going to have enough of the walnuts, but I'm going to give it a try. And I'm going to mix these two together, and I just don't want them to go everywhere on my desk. Here's my little basket. I think I'll set them here. And we will just give it a go. This is this is really pretty. This lavender. Maybe I would just order more lavender. And I'm going to see how far this takes it here. Yes, I am going to need to order more. And you know what? Oh my goodness, this smells so nice. I'm going to pause this here, but you're going to see how nice this is going to fill out and be. I'm going to pause this here, and I'm going to order 2 more bags of the lavender. Okay, so you're going to see how this will fill in, and I'll get it right down inside here once I have more of the filling. I'll order 2 more bags, maybe 3 more bags, because I want to make one of these for myself as well. And then I will pause, and when the bags come in, we will continue and we will finish it up. All right, my nutshells came in, and I ordered the 2 more packs of lavender to finish this pincushion. So we are going to get right at it. And hopefully these 2 packages will be enough. They'll do the job. And it smells so nice. And I really don't know yet how I'm going to finish this off. I want to see, I don't want it so over full that I want it more like a beanbag, beanbag style. And I'm going to put this right in here because I don't trust myself. I might only need this one, looking for my pins, this one extra bag. Or I may only need a little bit. Just to kind of finish this off. So what I'm going to do now, because I haven't a clue what I should do or what I want to do, I'm just going to fold this over, and I'm going to figure this out as we go. I have landscapers here, and basically that's what I'm doing with my landscaper. Chet's worked on my property for 30 years with all kinds of special projects, and every 10 years, what he did 10 years ago, I totally rip out and have him redo something different. So this morning I was out with him, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. So I told him to start ripping and taking bricks up, and I will decide as you work along, and that's kind of what I'm doing with this. Deciding as I go along. So, oh, I don't want to have that there because that's going to pick me. So if I take this now, and I just kind of want to see where I'm at without getting all picked up here. I want to see, I think I can take this one out, how much more crushed walnut shells I'm going to need to put in here. So, and I'm also tempted to do some stitching, try to do an invisible stitch inside, and then I may even glue a little bit of this, and then, because the last thing I want is, I don't want, here's my needle, which is getting all discombobulated for the invisible stitch. I'm going to set this right over here. So I think I'm only going to need to add maybe another half. And I think that might be okay. I want to give myself enough room to be able to stitch and glue and figure out the best way to close this. All right, let's get this cut here. And then this is one more project I can get off of my desk. There we go. Okay. that's about a quarter. All right, that's close. Boy, this smells so pretty. So I think I want to add just a little bit more. I'd rather go a little bit at a time than, you know, put so much in and have to try to take some out. Okay. All right, so that's about half of the bag. So I think that might be good. I just want to give it some room to, yeah, I think I'm going to add a little bit more. I don't want it, I want it firm. I don't want it too much like a bean bag. Okay, I think that might be good like that. So I'm going to leave this in here just so I can get this stitched up. And what I'm going to do, and this is where you have to really think I will get my other little clips here. Oh, I have to take that. It's my son calling from Romania. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so we're going to put this here like this. And I want to come along this edge here. Let's go over here. I just don't want it to be too full that I'm going to have a hard time stitching this. And this is where patience comes into play. This is where patience come into play. And the other thing is I have to make sure it's somewhat even across. I'm just putting enough on here so I can take a peek at it this way. Okay, I think that will be good. I think that'll be just fine. We'll get that down in there. Okay, all right. So I think we can start to stitch. And I need to do a blind stitch. So I started over here in the corner. This thread here, it's an extra heavy duty thread. It's a very light gray. I've doubled it up, but I wanted to use, because it's an invisible stitch, you're not supposed to be able to see it. So I'm not real concerned that it is a lighter gray. But with this stitch, you run right along. I don't know, I hope you can see it. You run right along the top and you bring it through and see, and it makes it invisible right here. So I'm just going to take my time. And the key to this is you start right across. You don't go at an angle. You have to go right across from where your other stitch was. Otherwise, it won't be invisible. It may be one of those where I come back up a second time because I do not have anything that's encasing or holding these little shells in place up here. I could always stick a dab of glue in there as well, Fabri-Tac. But if I stitch it properly, I shouldn't have to do that. It's in my way there. All right, so I'm going to finish stitching this up because I don't think you need to see me, but you get the idea. So see, you can't see those stitches, and I'm going to do, I'll come back up through and do another stitch along there just to hold everything in place. Okay, so I want to show you, I turned it and I'm halfway up through, so I'm going right back up through again, and I'm making actually smaller little strokes with my needle, kind of in between to catch everything in there. So when you go down, you want to turn around and go back up. And like I said, I'm making shorter little strokes. You can, and you see, you don't see the thread, any of the thread. Now, if you wanted to as well, if you have work with crushed walnut shells, and I thought about doing this, but I didn't. You could put them in a, I didn't want to put them in a baggie. If you want to make another interior liner to house the shells and then put them inside, whoops, this is around that button, put them inside your pincushion, you could do that as well. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to just have it, because I wanted to fill the corners. Each little corner of this. Well, that's totally wrong. See what I did there? I don't know why I did that. When you go at the angle, and I'm going to have to clip this, because when you go at the angle, which I guess I'm glad that I did that, you can see your stitch. See how you can see that? And you don't want to see it. You want it to be invisible. So I made the mistake of not going right straight across. So I guess I'm kind of glad that I did that. So you can see. So you have to go right straight across from that stitch. There we go. I think I was looking at that, the little hole there that needed some extra attention. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up, finish this off, and then we'll take a look at it, and we will be all set. There, the stitching is all done. This is the side that was stitched here, and you really can't, I don't think you can really tell. This is the machine side there. So this is the back side, and I just think this came out really, really pretty, and oh, it smells so nice. And then this is the front. She can use either. I wasn't sure how the back would come out, but I think the back is just as pretty as the front. And the pins are going to stick quite nicely in it, and she has plenty of room to you know, place them wherever she wants. I don't want to put any little holes in it just yet because it is a gift. So yeah, so that I'm very, very pleased as to how this came out, and I encourage all of you to, it'd be wonderful. You know, you don't have to do anything this large. You could do a half size or one of the long rolls, but it's just a wonderful project to work on. And, you know, you can just let your imagination run wild with your slow stitching and your flowers and however you want to make it. So, yeah, I want to thank everybody for joining in on this project. I just think it came out really, really pretty. And be sure to go back and look at the entire process, because there was a lot of things I changed on here. Up here I had some seed beads as stems, and I didn't like them. It was too bulky. I do show you different stitches and how I attach these little pieces that I cut from other fabric. So yeah, thank you everybody. I'm very pleased with how this came out, and again, I hope this inspires you to create a pincushion for your own sewing table. All right, everybody, have a great day. Bye-bye.